All right, what is going on, guys? Happy Sunday. We've got some NFL, we got some NBA. So, as always, we are going to talk about each game, and I will give you guys my best bets. But before we do that, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't yet, and join the Cord, the old Discord. Link is down below. Great community. Can't say enough about it. Posting plays. If you like NHL, hot right now. Our man Sass is hot posting the NHL right now. So he's been posting plays in there. So if you want to join, absolutely completely free. Link is down below. Do not charge for the Discord. Anyway, let's get into this. We'll talk about the recap. NBA just not good, man. We absolutely crushed December in the NBA. January, it's been kicking my ass a little bit. We're 36 and 39 on NBA so far this in January, so we're 48%. NFL, we kind of struggled in NFL a little bit in December. We're absolutely on fire in the NFL right now, so it's kind of the polar opposite. So 11 and 4 in the NFL. Overall for the month right now, we're 52 and 44, so still above that 52% mark, but we need to have a day. And I feel pretty good about that. We're going to talk about each game. Recap yesterday, just NBA sucked. We went 1 and 5. We had Durant under 4.5 assists. He absolutely went ham and crushed this in the first quarter. We had Tyus Jones over 4.5 assists. This one didn't even look like it was going to come anywhere near hitting, and ended up hitting. He had 1 at halftime. We had Lauri Markkanen over 5.5 rebounds. He just didn't get any. Eubanks ended up pulling 12 boards somehow off the bench. We had Jalen Duren over 9.5 rebounds. He hooked us at 9. We had Jacob Poeltl under 10.5 boards. He ended up with 12 in a game that was much tighter than it should have been. And then we had Rudy Gobert over 10.5 rebounds. He got hurt. A little bit of unluckiness there, but he wasn't pulling a ton of boards before he got hurt, so I really don't think he was going to hit that either way. In the NFL, we had Ladd McConkey over 5.5 receptions, cash. Ladd McConkey over 75.5 receiving yards, easy cash. Gus Edwards over 5.5 rushing attempts. This was the weirdest play of the day. I loved it. At minus 110, he absolutely crushed this line, so that was beautiful. Nico Collins over 26.5 longest reception. I believe his longest reception was 41, so that was pretty cash no matter what book you took it on. CJ Stroud under 3.5 rush attempts. This was looking good. He had 1 at halftime, and then he just started running like crazy in the second half, so we missed that one. Derrick Henry over 20.5 rush attempts. I'm not sure what he finished up, 22, 23 maybe, but he cashed that for us. Took his over receiving yards, over 4.5. This one ended up being a pretty popular play, which I really don't love popular plays because they don't hit a ton. But I thought there was great value there. He didn't have a single catch, so GG. And then we have Mark Andrews, anytime touchdown. God, that was frustrating. We had a nice parlay that posted in the Discord. It was a 6-leg parlay, and it all came down to just Mark Andrews getting this touchdown, and it didn't happen. So GG there. Okay, let's talk about these games. Some good games today. I think it's going to be exciting. So first game on the card, we got the Broncos and the Bills. In Buffalo, weather's going to be pretty cold. Not really a big deal for either of these teams, right? They're used to playing in cold weather. It's not going to be crazy cold. It's going to be in the high 20s, I think. Wind's going to be fairly minimal. So overall, given the time of the year, not bad weather in Buffalo. We see an over-under of 47.5. Initial gut lean was over 47.5. This line seemed pretty low, but just don't know if I can get behind Denver's rushing, right? I mean, you've got all kinds of guys in there touching the ball. You got Jaleel McLaughlin, you got Estime, you got Javonte Williams sometimes getting the ball. It's just a very crowded backfield, and no one's really stood out and had a lot of success. I think Estime is going to end up being a decent back. Javonte has just been absolutely shoved out for the most part. His rush attempt line's at 3.5 today. So, Jaleel McLaughlin's going to be your primary guy. He's more of a speed back. He's not going to pound it. I just don't know how much success he has today. That said, Buffalo is very, very prone to give up rushing yards. So does it come from Bo Nix? I don't know, right? I mean, I think that's the unknown variable here. Interesting thing, I was looking at taking Bo Nix over his rushing attempts at 5.5. He's had 7 the last 2 weeks. Heavily favored to go under. I just fundamentally disagree with that. I think he goes over 5.5 rush attempts. I like his rushing line. There's a nice little curve here where he's gone up every week for the last 4 weeks. So I do like that, but ultimately, I just don't think Buffalo at home loses here. I mean, we see a pretty steady -8.5. This was -9.5 yesterday, so we're seeing some buyback down to 8.5. I think Denver hangs in this game though, so I want to go Denver plus 8.5. Lean towards the over 47.5. I do think we see some points scored in this one. Looking at like a Mems anytime touchdowns, not a bad bet after the last couple of weeks. He's been ridiculously good. Maybe a Josh Allen. I do like Josh Allen anytime touchdown. I think the entire world's going to be on that, but maybe look at him for first touchdown. Could be a possibility there, but ultimately give me the Bills to win, but Denver plus 8.5. It's tight. I'd probably take this up to like 10.5, 11, and then mess with the over a little bit. That's how I'd play that. All right, next game, Packers and the Eagles. I have some concerns in this game. Green Bay's recent form has been terrible. They have not looked good. Jordan Love has not played well. You got Christian Watson, who had to have knee surgery. I mean, it's going to be a lot of what can Josh Jacobs do in this game, and against this Philly defense, I'm not sure he can do anything. So I have some big concerns there. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has been out with the concussion. Is he going to be a little bit rusty, right? Is his timing going to be good? A lot of concerns there. I think Saquon is kind of that steady rock that carries the Eagles offense. I think Jalen Hurts is going to get it done with his legs today. I would probably lean towards the under 45.5 in this one. One play I do like, Green Bay Packers first quarter. Take a money line first quarter. We've just seen it all season. The Eagles have just come out like ridiculously flat in the first quarter. Packers have scored like twice as many points in the first quarter than the Eagles have this year. So if you're looking for an angle to take Green Bay, I think that's a great spot. I wouldn't be opposed to taking Green Bay plus 4.5 in this game. I just don't trust them, and they're playing in Philly. Just so many variables here, but Philly minus 4.5. I don't know how you don't take that. I just have so many question marks with this Packers team. So give me Philly minus 4.5 in this, but I think it's going to be a tight game. Another one, I'd probably take it down to like 2.5 or even to a pick 'em, something along those lines. All right, Commanders and the Bucks wrapping up the day here today. I think we got ourselves a nice little Florida shootout going here. I think that they rested some players in Week 18 for Washington, right? We can't look into too much into that game. Jaden Daniels got pulled at the half. That said, he was doing terrible up until then. But we've seen the NFL, right? Week to week, everything can change. We saw Tampa Bay struggle against the Saints, right? They should have absolutely floored them. They were losing at halftime. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout. Give me the over 50.5. I like that here. And ultimately, I'm kind of leaning Washington +3 is where my head's at, to be honest. But Tampa Bay with the home field advantage is it's a pretty hefty advantage. So I think ultimately, if I had to pull the trigger, I would go Tampa -3. But man, I think it's going to be a really good game. I would just lean towards the over 50.5 in this one. Just sit back and hopefully enjoy the fireworks from the offenses that I think we're going to have. All right, let's talk about NBA. We're going to briefly go through the NBA. It's Sunday and we're in the playoffs. So I've got NBA plays that I like. We'll coast through this right here. So we've got the Bucks and the Knicks. We see the Knicks giving 4 points. Knicks did not look good against OKC, man. They got absolutely blown out at home. That was disgusting. I think they bounce back today. Give me the Knicks -4. This is just too good of a spot. Heavy lean towards that over 227.5. We know the Bucks do not play defense. Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks. We see Denver -5. This line's really sus to me. No Kyrie, no Luka, and Denver's been playing real well. We just saw Jokic and Russ pull a triple-double together in the same game at home last game. So not really sure how you don't take Denver -5 in this spot. I would have a lean towards the under 228.5, but Denver -5 would be my first play. All right, Kings and the Bulls. This is going to be a high-scoring game. Yeah, 238 here. Man, the Kings have they're in a weird spot right now. I think this is a pretty damn good line. Kings are the better team. That said, they're not playing like the better team, but we should have De'Aaron Fox. We should have Malik Monk. Like, they should have all their starters. Keegan Murray, DeMontis, all those guys. And then Chicago's still dealing with a little bit of injury in this spot. So I would say Sacramento minus 3.5 would be a pretty good play here. Lean towards the over 238. Bulls just give up a ton of points. All right, Pelicans and the Celtics, we see a massive line of minus 14.5. Not taking any lines that big. I don't do lines that large. Celtics at home, pretty good. I would say over-under is damn near really, really appropriately placed. I'd almost lean towards the under 226.5. Really depends on if old Snacks is playing. I assume Zion's playing. So I think that gives the Pelicans a fighting chance with Zion in there. Maybe a slight lean towards this plus 14.5 for the Pelicans, but ultimately not a game I want to touch. All right, Pacers and the Cavs. Cavs minus 9 kind of feels like a steal, but we kind of saw what happened when we didn't have Donovan Mitchell in the game. Man, when Spider was out, they struggled. They almost lost to Toronto. It really was feeling like they were going to lose. So minus 9 here. I got to kind of see what the injury report looks like. I would lean more towards the over 239 in this one. I think the Pacers are going to give up a ton of buckets. Cleveland gives up a ton of baskets as well, especially at home. So I think we see a pretty high scoring affair. I would lean Cleveland minus 9, but I think the over is probably the safer play. Oklahoma City Thunder and the Wizards. We see a massive line of minus 16.5. Crazy thing is, I think OKC probably carries this. They've been absolutely on fire. Like I said, we just saw them just destroy the Knicks in Madison Square Garden. So going to Washington is not exactly going to be too tough of a task, I think. I would lean towards the under 230.5 in this game. Ultimately, I'm not touching a minus 16.5, but they probably carry it. All right, so now we got 76ers and the Magic. Paolo Banchero was back. Yeah, he made a big difference, man. He covered the spread if you were on him for Orlando. Orlando at home, minus 1.5. Probably no Embiid. Stubbed his toe. I don't know. Hello landed on his foot. Hard to say. I would say Orlando minus 1.5 in this spot. I didn't see Paul George on a lot of books, so I'm thinking he might not be playing today. And I think Banchero is just that nice infusion that this team needed offensively, defensively. He's pretty much getting it done all over. He went absolutely nuts that last game. So I like the minus 1.5 and 206. 206 is a tough line for a Magic team, man. Usually when you see lines under 210, system play, take the under, and you're going to win more often than not. But I don't really love playing over-unders when they're that low. All right, Nets and the Jazz. This is called defense versus no defense, and we see an over-under of 216. Heavy play towards the over 216. This is ridiculously low for a Jazz team who just loves to give up buckets. Now, the Nets have some injuries and things like that, so I think that's why we're seeing them get 4. Jazz have been playing better for sure, and they should have Collins back, might get Keontae George back, so nice little infusion there. Nets are dealing with a decent amount of injuries right now. I think D'Angelo Russell's still going to be out along with like 4 other people. So give me Utah minus 4 in this one. Last game on the card here is going to be the Hornets and the Suns. We see the Phoenix minus 7. I said the other day that I didn't really love that rotation that they've been rolling out, but it's actually been working for them. Nurkic's just like, dead. I don't know where he went, but we haven't seen Nurkic play in a while. But Plumlee played pretty well. Gave out the over 7.5 rebounds for him in the Discord, and he crushed that line. So Phoenix minus 7 going up against Charlotte team that, frankly, they haven't played in a while. They haven't played since the 7th. So they've had a decent amount of days off because of the fires in Los Angeles and all that stuff. So I would say Phoenix minus 7 is a pretty good bet here. I would lean towards the over 224. Phoenix, not the most defensively sound team ever. That's for sure. All right, let's get you guys these final plays, get you on your way. But before we do that, like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord. We've got the ladder challenge going. We hit day 1 yesterday. Day 2 is already posted in the Discord. Feel really good about that. Let's start in the NFL here. So we got Josh Allen over 7.5 rushing attempts. I wish I would have been on this earlier in the week. He could have got it at plus money. It's minus 120 now. He hasn't really hit this line in the last 3 games, but it's playoff Josh Allen. So it's going to hit a little different. He's definitely going to have some goal line, attempts here. And I think he just has some general scrambles, kneel downs, all that good stuff come into play for rush attempts. So love this one. A little hodgepodge I put together with him here is going to be 225 pass plus 25 rush. Combine those together, you get plus 104. Really good value there. And then we already talked about this earlier. Tampa Bay and Washington, I like points. So give me the over 50.5. I know it's high, but I think it's a good spot. You could look at Tampa Bay team total over 2. I think that has value. Rashad White over 3.5 rushing attempts for Tampa. This is like ridiculously low. I know he hasn't been playing much, and Bucky Irving is really kind of taking over. But as they get closer to the goal line, Rashad White kind of starts to work in a little bit more. And then if Bucky Irving gets tired, right? So we just need 4 attempts. He's over this in 17 of his last 20 games. He's over this in 27 of his last 30 games. So we've got a good hit rate here. 3.5 attempts, pretty easy. Austin Eckler over 2.5 receptions for Washington. He had 4 when he played Tampa on 9-8. And Tampa Bay dead last in receptions to the running back position. So I do like this. Robinson, I don't love him coming out of the backfield. I think he just has a terrible day. That's why we're going with his under 12.5 rushing attempts. This guy's only averaging 12 in his last 10 games, and he has been ridiculously ineffective. So I think we'll see more Eckler than we will Robinson. So this is just more of a correlation play. If we look at Washington, like I said, just running the ball, it's pretty much just been Jaden Daniels. And then on the Tampa Bay side, they're actually 5th in fewest rushing attempts allowed to the running back position. So I like him to go under here. Kenneth Gainwell. This is probably my favorite play of the day, actually. This should have been a lot higher on the order list. But Kenneth Gainwell over 2.5 rushing attempts. It's ridiculous. He's over this in 9 of his last 10 games, right? Anytime Saquon needs a break, he's going to come in. He probably gets 3. I mean, he's not going to blow this line over. He's not going to get 5 or 6. This is going to be a 3 or 4, but he's consistently hit this. And then last play on the card, give me Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown at -105 on DraftKings. He's had a touchdown in 8 straight games. So I think he's going to get a ton of the red zone carries. If we look so far this season, he's had 61 red zone carries on the season. That's about right around 3.6 carries a game in the red zone. So I think he gets it done, goes for 9 straight touchdowns in the red zone. So those are the plays for today, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. And like I said, join the Discord. Link is down below. Absolutely free. Like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll catch you in the next video.